You may well be wondering about the title of my latest video, The Bible, Furnaces and Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, I'll go into a bit more detail. The Jehovah's Witnesses came round to my front doorstep and they gave me a booklet, and this is the booklet they've given. What does the Bible really teach? Now, the interesting thing about this booklet is page 20, it makes a statement. The Bible is scientifically accurate. Well, I don't think that's true. Anyway, the next time the Jehovah's Witnesses came round, I asked them about that statement, the Bible being scientifically accurate. I said to them to look up Daniel chapter 3 verse 19. Now it makes a statement, and then I'll read it out what it says. He was answering and saying to heat up the furnace 7 times more than it was customary to heat it up. Now I say it's totally impossible to do that, but I asked him, can you do that and prove to me that it will work? His response was, just put 7 times the amount of fuel on there and that will get a furnace 7 times hotter. Now, before I make a comment on his response, what type of furnace were they actually using about 2,500 years ago? It would have been very low tech and would have used charcoal as a fuel and probably have slaves running bellows to give the air so it'll burn at its hottest. Right, now we'll examine exactly what he said. You put 7 times the amount of fuel onto a furnace will make it 7 times hotter. Well, using a bit of logic, if you put 7 times more charcoal or wood or whatever you like to on a furnace, you'll need the volume of the furnace to be a lot larger, so it just doesn't work. But also, when you run fuel in a furnace, it doesn't matter what kind of fuel you need the right amount of air. If you have too little air, it runs cold. Too much air, it runs cold. So to get 7 times the temperature, it just won't work. Anyway, there's enough talk about theory. Now we'll do a practical demonstration. This is the furnace I've slapped together. It's made out of fire bricks, and you can see the blast hole down the centre. This furnace uses charcoal. There's the vacuum cleaner hose for the air, and the vacuum cleaner and the controller. And there is the fuel I'll be using, which is charcoal. Now I'm going to light up the furnace. Now I'm going to add charcoal. There's the temperature check before the blast's on. Now we'll see if the furnace is capable of melting steel. Okay, it's time to mention a few facts. Right, for starters, the melting point of pure iron is 1540 degrees. That piece of steel wire put in the furnace is not pure iron, so the melting point would be around 1500 degrees. Now, I know from experience, when you melt a particular metal, you have to get at least 200 degrees above the melting point to melt properly, otherwise it won't melt. That might sound strange, but it's a fact. Now, if you run that furnace at 1700 degrees, we added say 200 degrees on the 1500 degrees centigrade, now we've got a base figure. Now we can work out 7 times what that temperature is. So if you multiply 1700 degrees Celsius by 7, you get 11,900 degrees Celsius. Now that is a really high temperature. For our American viewers, I converted that to Fahrenheit. That works out as 21,644 degrees Fahrenheit. Now here is a challenge for anyone who wants to try this experiment. See if you can run a furnace at 7 times its normal running temperature. And I think you will find you will not do it. It just won't happen. Here are 2 more facts to think about if you want to try this experiment. Those bricks that I used are rated for 1420 degrees Celsius. When you get up to 10,000 degrees Celsius or more, there is nothing that will hold that temperature. It just doesn't happen. And the second fact is, measuring temperatures that high becomes extremely difficult. So how did they know in the Bible that you can get 7 times hotter temperature?